Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving straight into a massive misconception about productivity and learning. We're going to explore why the absolute secret to reading hundreds of books every single year actually isn't about taking some fancy speed reading course. Nope. Instead, it's all about transforming the hidden, often ignored gaps of your incredibly busy day. We constantly complain that we don't have enough time to read, right? Yet we just let hours slip right through our fingers. By the end of this explainer, you're going to see exactly how replacing a screen with one simple physical object can radically reclaim your attention and basically turn wasted moments into profound personal growth. Let's get right into it.
Part 1. The No Time Excuse.
I constantly get emails from viewers and newsletter subscribers asking for my magic speed reading trick. They see the sheer volume of books I recommend, and they just assume, that you need some superhuman ability or 3 perfectly uninterrupted hours of quiet time just to read. And look, I completely get it. When you're juggling demanding jobs, raising kids, commuting, hitting the gym, and managing endless household chores, the whole shebang, it really feels like those magical 3 hours are just never going to materialize. So the default reaction is to just not read at all. You might tell yourself you have absolutely zero time in your day. But is that actually true? If we're being brutally honest with ourselves here, that lack of perfect time is usually just an excuse. The reality is, we aren't truly out of time. We're just waiting for the perfect, ideal conditions to read. You know the vibe. The comfy chair, a fresh cup of tea, absolute silence. But life rarely gives us those perfect conditions.
Which brings us to part 2, the screen time trap.
So, when those perfect 3 hours don't magically appear, what do we actually do? We instantly pull out our phones. We tell ourselves we just don't have the bandwidth for a book right now, but then somehow we miraculously find the time during our commutes, in waiting rooms, and on lunch breaks to just stare at our glowing rectangles. And let's be crystal clear about something. Reading a book on your phone just doesn't work well. Why? Because your phone is literally a distraction machine. It buzzes with endless notifications, it actively tempts you to swipe over to social media the very second your attention wavers, and it's entirely controlled by algorithms designed to completely hijack your attention and decide what you should see next. On the flip side, you have a physical book. A book is durable technology. It demands and actually rewards your absolute focus. It doesn't buzz, it doesn't ping, and it definitely doesn't try to sell you anything else.
Let me challenge you with a slightly startling thought. What does the screen time app on your phone say right this very second? Seriously, if you pulled it up right now, would it reflect a person who is genuinely too busy to read, or would it show someone who is wasting their precious hours doom scrolling through other people's lives instead of actively improving their own? Ouch, right? It's a harsh reality check for sure, but an absolutely necessary one if we actually want to change our default habits.
Moving on to part 3, one simple, lifelong rule. Listen, to read hundreds of books a year, you really don't need to learn how to read faster. Actually, fun fact, I read quite slowly. You just need to read all the time. And to achieve that, you only need to adopt one absolute, incredibly simple rule for the rest of your life. Always carry a book. Everywhere you go, literally, no exceptions. You need to make this your new daily pat-down before you walk out the front door. You check your pockets, you check your bag, phone, check, wallet, check, keys, check, and now, step 4, book. It has to become just as essential as your house keys.
Part 4. Turning dead time into a live time.
Here's the secret. You do not need consecutive, uninterrupted hours to be a voracious reader. You just need to snatch a few pages here and a few pages there. When you're sitting in an Uber, boarding a plane, eating your lunch, or stuck in some doctor's waiting room, you simply pull out your book instead of reaching for that glowing screen. Use every single pocket of time you're given. This actually brings us to a famous philosophy popularized by the author Robert Greene. He argues that in life we face 2 distinct types of time. There's dead time, where people are just passive, basically waiting around. And then there's a live time, where people are learning and acting. We absolutely must stop wasting our dead time, all those hidden little gaps in our day, and actively convert them into a live time. That one simple shift, it turns passive, boring waiting periods into moments of profound personal growth. It's a total game changer.
Now, if you're sitting there thinking your schedule is way too demanding for this, well, let's look at some historical proof. For centuries, the absolute busiest, most powerful people in the world have relied on this exact strategy. Take James Stockdale, for example. He was a fighter pilot during the Vietnam War, and he spent 3 years flying grueling, literally life-threatening combat missions nearly every single day. Yet, aboard his aircraft carrier, he always kept copies of the Stoic philosopher Epictetus right on his bedside table. I mean, the guy certainly didn't have the luxury of 3 quiet hours to be a bookworm. Instead, he spent hours a week buried in those complex texts just by reading them in tiny stolen chunks of time right between missions. Or let's consider the highest office in the land. A journalist once shadowed President Theodore Roosevelt and was absolutely blown away to watch the President of the United States pull out a book about Sioux Indian tribes during a tiny 2-minute window between meetings. 2 minutes! It was really only enough time to read maybe 1 or 2 pages, but it perfectly proves this timeless strategy. As Roosevelt himself told that astounded journalist, it is surprising how much reading a man can do in time usually wasted. Hit the nail on the head, right?
Now, I know what you're thinking. You might be worried about the days where you just don't find those pockets of time. Actually, my wife has this hilarious tote bag with a cartoon of a guy packing a book before leaving the house, and the caption reads, "I better bring my book just in case I want to spend all day carrying my book." It's so true. I have plenty of days where I lug around a 4-pound, 900-page biography all day like a handweight and never even crack it open. But the truth is, you will never ever regret bringing a book with you. You will only ever regret leaving it behind.
And that brings us to part 5, the real-world connection. Let me quickly address another really common fear people have, ruining your books. Please, do not worry about this. Books are not precious, fragile museum artifacts. Like we talked about earlier, they're durable, incredibly well-designed pieces of technology. Let the corners fray in your bag, let the covers get battered, and honestly, let the food stains accumulate from those lunch break reading sessions. A well-worn book is quite simply a well-loved book. Plus, carrying a physical book has a massive social advantage. It does something a smartphone can never, ever do. It actively connects you with the real world around you. Think about it. If you're sitting in a coffee shop just staring at a phone, you blend in. You look exactly like everyone else, completely isolated in your own little digital bubble. But a physical book acts as a beacon. It broadcasts your interests out to the world and practically invites interaction.
To give you a perfect example of this, just last week I was standing on the sidelines at my son's lacrosse practice. I spotted another parent reading a copy of The Count of Monte Cristo. Now, because he was holding that physical book out in the open, it acted as an instant icebreaker. It sparked an absolutely brilliant conversation between us, which actually even led to me getting to recommend another amazing related book called The Black Count. All of those random beautiful human encounters, they are completely lost if you're just staring down at a glowing rectangle.
So, as we wrap up this explainer, the ultimate takeaway here is crystal clear. You don't need to buy some expensive speed reading course, and you certainly don't need a magical spell to add more hours into your day. You just have to stop wasting the time you already have. If you truly want to live a great life, you have to actively protect your time and fill your mind with great ideas. So grab a book, throw it in your bag, and bring it with you absolutely everywhere.
I want to leave you with this final, slightly provocative question to answer down in the comments. What book are you carrying with you right now? Seriously, look in your bag, check your pocket, what is in there? I'd absolutely love to know what ideas you're filling your mind with during those little stolen moments of the day. And hey, if this explainer inspired you to finally put down your phone and pick up a physical book, remember to subscribe for more strategies to build a better, more focused life. See you in the next one.